Hello, welcome to Anna Porter Public Library. What amazing turnout! Give us applause. We're surviving the rainy ain't out here tonight. Thank you all for your support. Thank you so much for coming. This is actually our final hour story series before our summer break. We will not have one during the summer. I am working on an intro to genealogy workshop though, so keep an eye on that. If you don't have Facebook or Instagram, I highly recommend it because we have that, and I always create Facebook events like we did for this one so people can know what's going on. Our guest today is Pat Adams. She's going to be talking about the CCC at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So without further ado, Pat Adams, welcome.
Thank you. Well, I tell you what, the boys of the CCC and the women that served in a type of CCC would all be very pleased tonight that you guys came out. It's been a long time, and the remnants of what they've done is still among us, is it not? Yes. We see it every day, all the time. Yes. I hope when we finish here tonight that you will be amazed and inspired about the work of the CCC in the Smoky Mountain National Park. I want it to be an inspirational thing for you because it truly is an inspirational story. I hope to reflect on the human side of this history by understanding the experiences of the workers and the communities that were affected by the park. I want to thank Kayla and the library staff for being included in the Our Stories series. What a fabulous story series it is, and just a lot of beautiful work going into it. A lot of local people have been presenters, so we're keeping the heritage. It's being kept alive by this library, and we do appreciate it. I'm not an expert on this topic. I want you to know that. I don't have all the answers. My father, John N. Fox Jr., I remember stories. He was born in 1918. I remember stories about his serving at some camp. And if you look at your handout, the reason I put Great Smoky Mountains National Park is that's the whole thing. I don't know which of these parks yet he served in, and which of these camps. Okay, so we'll come back to this before the end of the session, where I'll give you some clues. It's not an easy thing to find an enrollee. Very difficult, but we'll talk about that. Also, your other handout, I put my email on here because I wanted to continue a conversation with you. If you have any more questions, if we want to get back together, please communicate with me. All right, please communicate with me. Let's share information. I know there are, across the United States, there are CCC organizations that meet to remember these camps. So it might be something there's not one around here as far as I know. So we might be interested in establishing our own local chapter of that. These are just a few of the resources, people. I mean, I have barely touched the surface here. And I kind of assumed you had internet access. If you don't, you can Kayla, you have internet access here, right? Yes. So if you can't get these, if you don't have it, you can always come here to the library in Sevierville. But this is just a small portion. I kept preparing for this, and I thought, no, I can't add another thing to it. It's just another bit of information. So it's out there. And I have basically listed things that are local or with the state of Tennessee, But of course, Joel has listed two of his brothers, right? Joel, tell us about them.
One was my father and one was his older brother.
Okay, and they served where?
General Butler State Park in Kentucky.
Okay, so if he would be interested in looking, of course, he would go to some Kentucky state sources. Okay, but one of the major ones we're going to talk about that everyone can access, we'll come back to this, okay? Let's put this down for now, and we'll come back to both of these. Okay, back to both of them. Have you ever felt like you started studying something and you realized the more you studied, the less you knew? I learned it's called the paradox of knowledge. As you learn more, each new insight opens up more questions. Instead of feeling more certain, you become more aware of the vastness of what you don't understand. Every year, over 12 million people explore the Great Smoky Mountains, but few realize much of the park's beauty and accessibility can be traced back to the Civilian Conservation Corps. From the stone bridges along Newfound Gap Road to the trails leading to Kuwui, and that's the Cherokee name for Clemens Dome. I'm sure I didn't pronounce it correctly, but I wanted to. The CC shaped the visitor experience we know today. This presentation highlights the people, the projects, and the legacy of the CCC, showing how their work continues to define the Smokies a century later.
President Roosevelt created CCC. Give our young man a job for a nation he had a plan. Build state and federal parks throughout our beautiful land. They lived in tents and barracks, they all had daily chores. Cut their wood, made the beds, even swept their floors. Brushed rock, built the tub, worked in the rain and mud. Fought fires and rescued people from Mississippi floods. From the villages, cities, and towns, young men traveled from all around. On a day their lives would change, our nation would rearrange. $4 a day, just $1 a day. They blazed the map we hike today in the mountains that we love. Majestic Appalachian Trail, a gift from God above. Take the 18 northward, a testament today to the young men of CCC who work $4 a day. From the villages, cities, and towns, young men traveling from all around. $1 a day, their lives would change, our nation would rearrange. $4 a day, just $1 a day.
This gives you a foundation of the camps, of the men and the women that served. I'm sure all of us have stories that have been shared with us about the Depression. My grandmother, Maxie Maples, who was living in Knoxville at the time, she said they would go to bed early and turn down the heat, so they wouldn't burn so much fuel. And she says she remembers men wandering through the town of Knoxville, knocking on doors, asking for food. Do any of you have a story you'd like to share about? I don't say you, none of us were alive then, right? Just checking. None of us were alive then. But do you have a particular story you'd like to share about that?
So my mother's uncle jumped the train, no work. They lived out in Rockwood Mountain. So he jumped the train. He had heard there were jobs out west. He jumped the train, got out there. So he's about to starve to death on the way back. He didn't have anything to eat. So he was out in a field cutting creasy greens.
I don't know what that is.
Wild
But
creases.
oh, okay. Creasy greens.
It's a green.
Oh, it's a green.
It's a wild crease.
Okay.
So he thought he wanted some creasy greens. He's giving some iron. Cutting it with a knife and sticking it in his pack. And this woman at the house said, "You there, come over here. She's gonna let me cut some wood or do something. She's gonna give me a plate of food. Come around here in front of these more, but these need to be cut worse."
Cute.
She told me to come around to the front. Those greens need to be cut worse.
Yeah, we can all share those stories for sure. I'd like to get to know the audience a little bit better before we move on. Who here was, if you raise your hand, if you were born in Sevier County, Tennessee? Well, look at that. I'm surprised. Well, I was too, so I can't raise my hand. I was born in Knoxville, but most of my lines did come from this county. Right. How many of you? Let's name off the counties that would have encompassed the Great Smoky Mountains National Park during the CCT time. Anybody here born in Swain County? That's North Carolina. How about Haywood County? North Carolina. Blount County. There were a few, and then Cott County also. We've talked about Cott County a little bit about that possibly being an area. How many of you were born in the 1900s? Wow, all right, cool. I'm just being silly. I'm just checking, It was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be. Every year, over 12 million people explore the Great Smoky Mountains. I'm sorry, I need to turn to my next page. Let's talk about the stock market crash. The stock market crash of 1929 triggered widespread economic collapse, leaving millions unemployed. By 1932, the U.S. faced unprecedented joblessness. As a governor of New York, Franklin Roosevelt, at that time, he had a small scale, what you would say, CCC program in the state of New York. Okay, and it revolved around forestry, erosion, the same things that the next level would offer. And then when he ran for president, he also promised to create a national program that would put young employed men to reforest the land and restore natural resources. So that was part of his campaign promise. And of course, we know he did win. And you've heard of the 100 Days, the New Deal, those terms that we hear from history. Well, part of the CCC came out of a program called the Emergency Conservation Work Act. So you may think, oh, but this was the foundation for the CCC. Okay, again, the Emergency Conservation Work Act. It was interesting because once this was kind of conceived, all these different departments of the government started working together. And no wonder, because look there, by executive order on April the 5th, 1933, the CCC was established. And look, April the 7th, they enrolled the first worker. So it happened very rapidly. But behind the scenes, you need to know, once this concept was in the mind, there were a lot of people cooperating with it. Who was the woman behind Roosevelt in all this? I know you'd say that. We'll get to her. This woman, Frances Perkins. Don't you love that 40s look? I just think that's the best looking. She's there. She was the first white, excuse me, wrong. She was the first woman to hold a cabinet office under President Roosevelt. She was a civil rights worker. You can thank Social Security, the 40-hour work week, child labor restrictions, and unemployment insurance. This woman had a great deal to do with that. And you can see she's among a group of men there in that group picture there.
What was her name?
Frances Perkins. You're welcome. And she is called, so she helped really behind the scenes, along with these other programs. She helped develop the CCC. She really was behind it. In fact, she is often called the woman behind the New Deal. Now, let's say you are, let's say, how old are we going to be? 18 to 25 years old. Oops. Oh my goodness. And you want to find out, if you're eligible for being in the CCC. You've heard about it one way or another. Okay. Are you going to be eligible? Yes, you are eligible if you're 18 to 25. Okay, that was the age parameter. Some of those age things were, oops, sorry. I need to go back a few. Kayla, do you know how to do that? Thank you. I'm not sure. I went too far ahead. Pardon me, guys. Yes.
Not arrow. See this little guy
right here?
There you go. See, like this. There we go.
That's the one I need.
Okay.
There you go.
Right.
We're talking about eligibility. And by the way, I hope you enjoy the slides, because these are original photographs from various sources. From the Great Smoky Mountains National Park archives. They have a great load of stuff. From the National Park Service. It's just, again, a wealth of information. So I have tried to source out these things and give credit where I'm able to. Okay, so you had to be between 18 and 25. Did you have to be a male? Yes, you did initially. Sorry, ladies. We got something for you maybe a little later on. You had to be unemployed and unmarried. And you had to accept a payment of $30 a month. That's that dollar a day, dollar a day. $25 of that went back to the family. All right. So you only had this little bit of $5 to spend on some small things. How about blacks? Were they eligible? Black Americans. Let's look at it. Okay, thank you. They were, but it was segregated, guys. It was a segregated time. It's very much segregated. It reflected the opinions of the time, unfortunately. So this middle picture here, this is an interesting picture because it is a black baseball team. This gives you an idea that besides the work that the camps had, they had sports teams. So it wasn't just all work. They had sports teams, and this is a group of that. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say about that. Black men could enroll, but camps were segregated. And they usually had fewer training opportunities. Despite these barriers, about 200,000 black men served in the CCC over its lifetime. So black Americans were allowed, but the program reflected the racial segregation of the 1930s.
Were they paid less?
I'm not sure. I assume they were paid the same, but I don't know. That's a good question. Someone who's keeping my Becky, write that down for me, would you, if you're paying attention? I put her on the spot. Are you paying attention? Well, good. I know I'm just teasing. Anyway, what about Native Americans? Well, my understanding is this. They did have their own separate camps, and you mentioned the name reservation. Their camps usually revolved around the reservation. The one where you can see some men kind of climbing up a hill, that is a picture from what I've told Cherokee Indians working at a location over in North Carolina called Soko Gap. Now, we bring in Eleanor Roosevelt now, right? We don't want to forget her. Yes, it is. Thank you. Oh, good. He answered our question for us. Please.
The Negro CCC workers were often paid the same, but they had discrimination in opportunities.
Yes.
They would still pay the same.
Thank you very much. Thank goodness for the internet, huh? Yeah. Well, Eleanor Roosevelt was not to be outdone, so she did put together a program. It was not called Civilian Conservation Corps, but it was for women on a much smaller scale. And it was devoted more to education and training rather than physical labor. They were often called she camps. You can see them here. That is an original picture of the women in their shorts and ready to go. I don't know what camp that is. I've been trying to find out. I would have loved to have done that, wouldn't you? I would have been right there if I could have. Now, let's.
It looks like, I don't know.
Yes.
Blacks and white.
You know, I'm thinking the same thing too. I think you're very observant because I'm thinking in that camp there does look like a racial mixture. Sure does. Okay, we're back in Sevier County, 1933. How are you going to hear about the CCC? How are you going to hear about it? Remember those? I kind of remember sitting around one like that. Do you? Kind of. I must have been awful young, but anyway. there were not many radios in Sevier County at that time. It was available, and there wasn't a lot of electricity, was there? No, not a lot of electricity. So you might have heard it through the radio. And notice the two wonderful posters. There are some fabulous posters from the work progress of, I can't think of the name of that, work something association was part of the government that produced these beautiful posters. WPA, thank you. Thank you very much. And some of them were specifically for certain states. This is just a small picture. What about post offices? A lot of these posters were placed in post offices. Let me give you a list of the post offices at this time. Cades Cove had a post office. White Oak Flats, that's Gatlinburg, right? Little Greenbrier, Cataloochee, Sugarlands, Elkmont, and of course Sevierville. So also there were the induction offices, and the offices for taking in applications were in various places throughout the community. A lot of times in a post office. Sometimes they would take over and borrow somebody's office. But this is where the young men would come. The recruits had to pass a basic physical exam, age and citizenship certification. I don't know much about the physical exam, what that was all about, but maybe we can find out more about that. Maybe just touch your toes. I don't know. I can imagine my father, John Fox, being in pretty good condition at that time. He was a tall gentleman and felt like he was in pretty good shape. So I could see he would pass that. Next picture. This is a priceless picture I have found. This is from the Great Smoky Mountains National Park archives. This is an actual picture of a recruitment statement in Bryson City, North Carolina. Isn't that a jewel? Isn't that a jewel? And no, I think that something power company, I can't, thank you. That's a precursor to the TVA, I believe. Is it? I'm not sure. I think it's a precursor. And then that gasoline sign, Texaco. And if you'll notice, these are some of the men lined up there. They have on, some of those have those newsboy hats on, you know, those little duffel hat type things. But I just think this, yes, thank you. I think that's a priceless picture. And let's see, go on here, guys. Are we okay so far? Everybody in good shape? Good. This is a picture or map of 1938. These are the camps throughout the United States. Does that not give you the scope? Yeah, that's what I knew. Yeah, thank you. I knew it. Look at that. There's a big hole there in the middle of it. I don't know what's going on there. Ain't no mountains. But it is interesting. You do see a conglomeration, don't you, around the northeast and up and down the
Well, but more people were hurt more during the Depression in the Northeast. They didn't have farms that they were working.
Good point. Did you guys all hear that? Very nice point. I'll remember that for my next presentation, if I may. But aren't you amazed by the number? Yeah. Tell me What was the condition of these mountains when the CCC arrived? 80% clear cut. There's some old pictures. I didn't bring them with me, but just whole sides of mountains, bare, completely bare. The virgin native forest gone forever, guys. I was going to ask you who it was. Who was the culprit? Yeah, waterways were destroyed because of the logging. There was mining. Remember that the lumber companies built railroads, did they not? They built railroads too. You said the Champion, is that right? And what about Little River? Little River was another one too. Was Champion more over on the North Carolina side, or? We were North Carolina. Of course they were. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All these hiking trails, it says 5% grade, that is a railroad.
Thank you. Thank you. You can still find some of the tracks, can you not?
Champion, one company, had the higher elevations, and they were going to use it for paper, and they found out that time made better paper, so they didn't really cut it down. So the large tracts that were purchased from Champion were the Virgin Park because they hadn't cut those down.
Excellent. Thank you, Francis. Thank you. Elkmont and Tremont were actually logging camps before they became, yeah, well, that's how they were established. Oh, let's see here. Erosion, terrible erosion. Wildlife decimated. What fish was almost lost? Not rainbow. I'm trying to hear it. What is it? Brook. Now you know. Is that another name for it, brown trout? Bookies. Yeah. So they were almost decimated. A lot of wildlife gone. Ogle forest gone. I think, do you all know of a place, you go up to Laurel Falls, and if you hike way on up, there are some maybe original trees up there? Am I?
Well, there's virgin timber on all Browns Grove, there's virgin timber, yeah, I think you're right, that would be. If you said singularly, Cold Mountain.
Okay, thank you.
Repeat the answer.
Cold Mountain and Albright's Grove contains virgin timber.
Cove Mountain and Albright's
Albright's Grove.
Grove. I don't know that location. They have virgin timber. And you do say you think there's a portion up at the end of Laurel Falls too.
It's way past Laurel Falls.
It's way past Laurel Falls.
On the Cold Mountain. That trail goes to Cold Mountain.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Small group, Cosby, and also on the way to Porter's Creek, there's a stand of hemlock there.
Oh, hemlock. Very nice. Yeah. A little bit left, right? Just a little bit left. Now, if you look at your resource list, this is a film, number 3. Number 3 is a film I'm going to show, and we can't watch much of it. It's very long, but I would love for you to watch its entirety. I would really encourage you to. That's why you will go to YouTube and just search under this, all right? But this is a priceless film. We'll play part of it. That looks like Elkmont Bridge there. We're going to stop it right up, starting over again. There we go. But I would encourage you to watch all of that. It's all about the work in our park. It was made by the government. Okay. Any comments or questions so far? You're getting a feel of the background, where we stand, coming out of the Depression, people needing work, and some of the negatives. Well, we'll talk about some of the negatives in a little bit. I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit. If you would look at your handout again, number 2. This website is unbelievable. This is a wonderful website. Let's open it up here and look at it. Passing the legacy to future generations. Hold on just a moment. Well, my URL doesn't seem to be opening up. Sorry about that. Let me be sure. Hold on just a second, because this is a wonderful site. I guess it's just not in there, guys. I am so sorry. But if you will go to this website, I have the core in Tennessee, but what I mean is it's really, this is going to be a valuable tool for you as far as it has every camp in every state. It's I wish I had this URL to open for you, but it is, and you can sort through. You open it, and you'll sort by. It'll have the map of the United States, and you'll pinpoint your state, and then it'll go to the camp list. And so I would encourage you to go to that website. It's valuable. In fact, this sheet here, I went through the Tennessee camps, and I pinpointed the ones from the Smoky Mountains National Park. And so I culled those out for you so you could see those. Let's look at that list just a minute, and we're going to get back to it again. Project number, company number, location, and office. One of our participants noted that under notes, maybe she suggested that should say location. But what I want to point out to you is you have 2 things here. You have an SPNP notification, and then you have a camp number. Okay, you've got 2 designations there you need to be aware of. And so if you go on that website and you look for Oregon, you're going to find this type of nomenclature with these kind of things.
Is that State Park, National Park?
Pardon?
SPNP State Park, National Park?
Yes, it is. Yes. Notice one here in Townsend is it's a lot of them you'll see in our area have a TVA code, especially around North Dam had a bunch of their TVA camps. So you'll see a lot of those. We'll get back to that, but I just wanted to point that out. I got this information off this website and kind of got that out for you. And again, you've got my email. If you need to contact me, let's share information. Let's keep it going. Now, what do you think camp life was like? All these camps. What were if you were a young man or woman going into a camp? What were they like? You know, you hit the nail on the head. You really did. They were very military style. In fact, some of the leaders of the camps were former World War I officers. Yes, very much so. And so it was being away from, can you imagine being away from home probably for the first time ever? And a lot of these places were in the wilderness. You know, they were just so far away from home. I imagine there were a lot of homesick people. I can imagine. It was very structured, very disciplined, physically demanding. It did offer classes in education, though. A lot of classes in education. There were laundry facilities. You saw where there was a baseball team. So there was some camaraderie, a lot of camaraderie. And you can kind of see that in those pictures, you know. Of course, they may be just posing for the camera. I don't know. But they all seemed so very excited. There were mess halls. And if you can see this right here, I'm not sure where this mess hall is, but you can see the type of situation we're in here, very military. And then you can see over here tents. Some were at tent camps, some were barracks. So you had a variety throughout the United States, laundry facilities. I saw a film the other night where one of the leaders of the camp officers is going by a young man who needs a shave, and he dresses him down. He's going to go get a shave, you know. So it was that kind of a situation. A CCC enrollee in Oregon tells us this story. We heard a terrible racket outside the barracks one night. The whole camp thought it was a bear. Turned out it was Johnson. Sleepwalking in his long underwear, fighting a garbage can. The next morning, the foreman gave him a safety lecture on proper garbage can handling. And another comment, we all sleep in barracks or on army cots using army blankets. 45 men are housed in each barrack. The boys eat at the mess hall. They march double file and each stop morning and evening to pay their respects to the country's flag.
You know, around here, like my grandfather, he would have been much older, or he couldn't be in it, but they hired him. He drove a Model T truck from Elmont Elmont to Townsend to pick up diesel fuel and dynamite.
What a story. Thank you.
It's in the book, Last Train to Elmont.
Last train to Elmont. Okay, now let me see if Becky's writing that down. Last train to Bell. Okay. I bet they have it here. Do you have it? Do you know, Kayla? Cool. Yay. Thank you. This place right here is a great resource for all of this stuff. You know that. You know that. All right. There were some negatives about the camps and the program. Can you imagine what they would have been? Just some negative feelings in the general public. I hadn't heard that one, but that may be right. Could be one. But you, let me see if I can find my sheet on that. I think I missed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That varied from camp to camp. And there, pardon?
Safety?
Yes. Safety issues was a great, thank you very much. Oh, can you imagine? And those, yes. There also, well, there was condemnation, not by many people, of the segregation, but you didn't hear much of that. You didn't hear much of that. But of course, today we look back on it a little bit that way. There were some people that were kind of afraid of a federal program, to serve. I don't know what all that was about, but there were some negatives. There were some negatives. And as we find in anything, we'll find that. Pardon? Big government. Thank you, Frances. She's my cousin for some reason. She's helping me out. Now, if you pull out that camp list again, we're going to look at we're going to move into the Great Smoky Mountains, as we know already are. Let me check our time here. Oh, we're doing well. Okay. I want to be sure I get your information, sir, before you leave. Thank you so much for sharing that. So he was not, but he was hired. He was paid.
He was paid. And me thinking about it, he would have been older at that time.
Yes, he would have been.
But he's in that group last trying to help.
All right, very well. Good to hear that. All right, let me get, I've lost my list here. Okay, look on your, let me find my list here. Hold on just a moment. Some of you had supper before you came, didn't you? Y'all went out to eat or something. Where did you go? Where did you go to eat? TJ Hannah. Very good. Okay, we're going to look at, oh, sorry, I need to go back, and I skipped up here. Kayla, how do I go back? Thank you.
Yeah, there's the arrows on your keyboard.
I see it. I know that.
You just missed me already.
I did.
Like that right there. Are you done now?
No.
Or
Yeah.
you want me back here?
Yeah.
That's the right one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you. Okay. Camp David Chapman, Greenbrier. Okay. That is, what number is that on your NP3 or 460? 1460, Gatlinburg, Greenbrier. I guess David Chapman, do you know who he was? Colonel? Had a lot. Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. Pardon? I'm not sure. He could have. He was a very influential man in Knoxville or around, yes. Now, just to give you an idea, let me say this about this camp. This was a very important camp. I have a feeling my father served at this camp. I don't know for sure. And you're going to find out these records, if you start looking for your enrollee, you're going to find them across so many archives, and they're scattered, unfortunately. So you need to know that ahead of time, that if you start out searching, because what you can do, if you find the right spot in the National Archives, you can actually find the application and the information that your enrollee would have had. I thought I had found my father because it said John Fox Jr. in this chart. I thought, oh, yes, yes. So I opened up his file, And it was a John Fox Jr. in Nebraska. My daughter and I were so excited. It looked like his signature even. I could have sworn, but anyway. He didn't. He didn't know it. I thought, oh no, what's happened here? But this is a very important one. Let me just give you so that we get an idea. You can see how large it was, can't you? Look at all the different buildings, the barracks, the laundry, and all that good stuff. And there were a total, as you can see on here, of 22 camps in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. This is located in the, see if I'm correct on this, all right? This is was located in the Greenbrier section just south of Porter's Creek, near Greenbrier Road.
And there used to be an inn up there in that area. And it was sort of flattened out
Is that right?
right by the river.
Is that right? Okay. Have any of you say an inn, you mean
It was a hotel.
a hotel? Oh, was that the Greenbrier thing? The lodge, the thing? No, that's the other. That's the other thing. That's the other thing. All right. So I would say now, I have looked there is no roster per camp. All right. I know she's having a horrible look on her face, and I understand. There is no roster per camp. I know. What were they? Yes. Yes. So an individual could be moved. So that's something else that you need to keep in your head, that, oh my, maybe they moved. Sometimes camps came together. It's not going to be easy, but we're not going to give up, are we? We don't give up. Okay, then the next one is a neat picture of Smokemont. And what number is that on your? That's over in North Carolina, right, kids? Now, I'm not sure which, see, you notice here I have an NP4 and an NP14 Smokemont. So I haven't separated those out. That's the best I could do. You'll notice under NP14 that you can also find it as 3453. This is just the way it is. It's all crazy. It really is. Pardon? Oh, there is another one. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And NP5 is in that. And that, oh, we're going to get to that one. Yeah, that's Kephart Springs. But notice the mess hall. We've got the cooks, the people that help out. And this is so neat. Look, they've got their plates perched up on top of their cups. I just think that, I noticed those things. And I just think that's, this is 1935. Getting ready for the crew to come in. Okay, then we move on to this. Sugarlands. All right, tell us about it.
You go through there before you get to the turn that goes up toward the cemetery, where the store, the post office, the school were. If you there, and there's a trail out to it now. It didn't used to be.
Okay.
The trail, it's not very far, but you can see it from the trail. I did not know it was a clock tower.
That's what it is. It's the clock tower. I'm glad to hear you feel that way. There you go. Now, does this make sense? I'm going to read off where the directions are. Okay, I'm going to read them off. 1.4 miles on the old Sugarlands Trail from the trailhead near Sugarlands Visitor Center.
Well, about a mile and a half.
Okay.
Okay, so you cross the river
Mhm.
That trail's on the other, Lucas River is on the left-hand side.
Excellent.
So, yeah, it'd be an honor.
Okay. Have any of y'all ever seen the remnants of the clock tower? You have. Excellent. Excellent. Let me tell you some other things that this particular camp did. They spent 238 man days fighting forest fires. They built 19.5 miles of horse trails, 14 miles of telephone line.
In the 70s, you could see the telephone line still strung.
In the
Still hanging there
really?
beside that trail.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
In the
like 70s.
Interesting. I'm glad we have somebody here
They
that
started taking it down.
just on and on and on things that each of these. It said here they footbridges to on Alum Cave Trail, bridge at upper end of Chimneys Park Ground, and you can also see in that area a concrete foundation of the original camp buildings.
Used to their they have garbage dump. What I would assume with those buildings there. You see people going through it all the time. Climb out bottles and whatever they threw away.
I see. Interesting.
Pop bottles.
Uh-huh. Now we go on to, let's see here, what we got next here. This is, now Francis, this may be, you said you're, oh, I'm sorry, I made a misspelling there in Sugarland. I apologize. But this is NP10. You feel like you're,
This is up as for the picnic areas now.
okay.
And he called it the Google Farm. It was a peanut farm before they.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Goober Farm. Of course, that Sugarland, the reason that area, MP10, was selected, it was fairly a smooth area, right? Kind of a very level area, if you think about that area. And then we move on to another camp, Kephart Springs. That should be on your list. And that's the one that Anna mentioned. There's another Smokemont on the North Carolina side, near Okanalufty. I can't say it. Oh, I said it wrong. I knew I would. I knew I would. Lufty. Just call it Lufty. Now, what is Okanalufty? Right. The, so far, do any of you think you're, well, that your CC and Rolly might have served on the North Carolina side? Do we have anybody here yet? Okay. I'm pretty sure I know my dad was over here. All right. Let me tell you where Kephart Springs Camp was. Just off Newfound Gap Road, almost 2/10 of a mile up what is now Kephart Prong Trail. I'm looking to you for your, and she's shaking her head. Thank you. Okay, okay. Uh-huh. They had about 200 young men there. And you can see here on this group picture, see here 411? See on this man, the jerseys? They had their camp numbers on their jerseys. This is just an offhand picture here because I do want to emphasize the camaraderie in the camps. You see the guys, they're having a little bit of fun there, aren't they? Yes. Now, what's this about? What's this about, kids? Oh, am I on the right one? 40 pounds. What's that about? I know, but don't pay attention to that. This is the siding of the picture. That's the side. Come on, we're talking about the camp. No, no, it had to do with the mess hall. Had to do with food, but on average, the young men would gain 40 pounds. They built muscle too. He's going to add the muscle in there. It wasn't all fat. Wasn't all fat. I would say they were malnourished.
And they were getting 3 meals a day.
3 meals a day. Remember our song? Yeah. Three hots in a cot was called. 3 hots in a cot. Yeah, three. I remember seeing a picture of my husband before he went into the Air Force, before I knew him, and he was just like a rail, you know. And then about a year later, he shows me more pictures, and I mean, he really put on the weight, you know, getting the regular meals and all that. So this was just a piece of information I thought you might enjoy.
But they want to join, wouldn't they?
Yes,
Want to join.
I think yes. Yes, I don't think recruitment was a problem. I don't think it was a problem. I don't. No, I don't think it was a problem. I don't know how the money was sent back home. There are a lot of details. I don't know whether it was mail back or, you know, there's so much to learn, guys. Western Union, you know, I'm just not sure. That's right. Get rid of a mouth to feed and get money in return. This is what he's saying. I think you had to be out of that area. I think, for instance, if you're recruiting in Washington State, you're going to be recruiting from among young men in that area. Yes. Yes. No. Now, how many of you hiked any of these trails? Sir, how many of you hiked? All of them. Braggart. Braggart. I've been on the Appalachian Trail, but that's just right up at Newfound Gap, right? That's not really anything. Is that right? Yes, yes. I don't know where Bullhead is. Where? Oh, that's name the trails up to Mount LeConte for me. The Boulevard. Thank you. Which is the hardest? Depends.
I hate Rainbow. It's rocky.
Rainbow. Alum Cave, is that where they stored something for the Civil War? Alum, thank you, Ann. Ann is my friend. I know it. I'm just trying to be silly. Okay. The Smokies were nothing like the gentle graded trails we know today. C.C. crews worked on rugged ridges, deep forest, steep slopes. The men used hand tools, axes, mattocks, crosscut saws, and shovels to carve a walkable route out of the thick brush and rocky grounds. And as someone mentioned, some of the trails coincided with the railroad trails. Is that right? Yeah. On Deep Creek. You'll notice this individual here is certainly a foreman. Well, I can't. He didn't have a tool in his hand. What's up with that? You got a hat on like a. Why did they wear those hats all the time in the 40s? What was that about? You know, I guess. I apologize. I'm not sure what trail this one's on. It seems I should have written that down. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You see, they're working pretty hard there. Oops, I did it again. This is just a picture from a friend of mine who, well, she's really not a friend. This is a picture from, that's not. I'm not going to give her name now. She's an acquaintance, okay? She's an acquaintance. Okay. Are any of you members of the hiking club over here at the Gatlinburg Senior Citizens Group? We don't hike with them. But this just shows you that as you hike along, you can find remnants, can't you, here and there? And this is a fire pit with picnic table made of concrete. So now let's see who recognizes this place. I had to check to be that, according to what I read, this was built by the CCC. It was built by the CCC. It's a short stone-lined tunnel that sits beneath the roadway that leads to Wuhui, the highest point in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It was built during the major road constructions era of 1930s and 40s. It was allowed hikers, horses, and maintenance crews to pass safely under the steep, narrow road without interfering with the traffic. It also helped manage drainage and erosion, channeling water away from the mountainside. So, I've never seen this. Can you see it from the road?
No, it's awkward to find. You're going up to what used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the right. You know, I mean, that's how I.
But you can see it if you're on the road? No. Okay. You have to be on the trail. Okay. Now, I have never fished in the park. Have you? I hate to say I've never fished in the park, but we have to remember.
May I ask?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Go back to that last one.
Oh, no, I have to go back. No!
Back to the other area.
You're not being very kind, laughing at me.
We're so happy.
Okay.
Think of all you learned about it.
I know it. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just looking, yesterday I was in Cherokee and, coming down through the tunnels and so forth, but they look the same. Were those tunnels built during that time?
I don't.
That one's not big enough for a car. No, I know that, but what do they say?
There's another question, Becky. Were the tunnels built during the big tunnels? They've been enlarged. Okay, we'll check in. She's gonna, yeah. Well, we talked about the native brook trout. No, go ahead. You didn't ask your question, did you? You did. You said we don't know, or somebody said they were built or they weren't built.
They were enlarged.
Thank
So
you.
they were remade.
They were remade. Thank you.
That's a common way of building a tunnel or an arch.
Go ahead and expound on that.
The very middle stone, which is called the
Keystone.
is the last one put in, and theoretically that arch should be supported without any concrete or anything.
because of the keystone.
Because of Keystone, the way the physics work.
It is beautiful,
And
isn't it?
that was just a very common way of building things around here because it's stone.
Very nice. Thank you.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard that they brought in a lot of stone workers from Germany to help fit those stones.
Mm. We have till 7:30, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I need to hurry up, don't I?
Yeah, and then Q&A.
Oh no, we've already had Q&A. No. We've been Q&A the whole time, he said. I think but I think we often, to me, I think it's a delight that people can come here and fish, you know.
They still have the hatchery.
Yes, you still have the hatchery, okay? Because that's what they're doing here. They're making the hatchery. Okay, then we move on to comfort stations. Yes, we're also grateful for them. But you can see the stonework there. This is the comfort station at Chimney. Isn't that beautiful? Just the work of it is so gorgeous. And I want to just talk about there were preservation projects. Okay, there were projects to help promote the history and sustain the history of any given area. Now, Cable Mill was already there when the CC camp arrived. For what condition? It was in a mess. Just to put it briefly, it was in a mess. So they went in, let me tell you some of the things. They just stabilized a lot of the buildings and made it what it, and you know, enhanced it what it is today. So, you know, that's kind of a little bit different look at some of the things that they did. Now, this is an iconic bridge. You can see Elkmont Bridge, building it, and as it appears today. I just think that's just absolutely gorgeous. You can see them with their lifts and everything, but that's the Elkmont. Now, Elkmont's where this is where the lumber company was. Huge lumber company. Yes, right. Yes.
Yeah, but they put the well, I mean, you know.
We got poor and rich people talk going over here. I don't know what's going on. I've lost control, so I've lost control. We could go on and on with the various places here. I hope you have appreciate what has been accomplished for us here. I want to turn real quickly back to your handout before we leave. If you wanted to, down here where finding enrollee records, you can request a copy without doing, you can request a copy. Now, this tells you how to do it from the archives. And this tells you how to do it without doing any searching. And if you go on this site, you can request a copy. You'll have to fill out a form. And you may not have all the information, but don't let that worry you. Go ahead and send it in anyway, okay? This down here, if you want to search, and I have just written the, let me just show you here. For this paragraph right here, this is the URL, okay? You'll have to copy that over. And if you want to search the records yourself, this is the URL, okay? And I could send these to you, you know, over the through the email, but if you don't mind copying that in, that's the only way I knew how to do that. This is very hard to follow. You have to follow every little bit. But I wanted to give you two resources so that you could, if you want to conduct your own, and I think, Dora Jean, tell us about your enrollee, which if you don't mind. Stand up if you don't mind so everybody can hear you.
You know, his dad had died. One of the dear ones, left, and said that being in the city probably kept him out of trouble. He was kind of famous for doing, you know, rebellious things. And just hearing you talk about the fact that it was like a military school, and that probably is exactly what saved him, that kind of discipline that he really needed, because he would jump off in the Red River, which had a lot of whirlpools and things, and swim across and skip school and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
So it was in the family. But it did say that it saved him. And he was about 6 feet tall. And that very first snapshot, it showed the man with all the black hair. It looked so much like him. Now later on he was gone. Whenever he was young, he was so handsome. And that man showed her.
Did he?
That's
Yeah.
all I have to say. We're from South Florida. He may have been in one swamp area. I don't know if they had in the Okie swamp area.
Yes.
Or where they might have had some work. Was.
In South Georgia. All right.
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
I've often pondered.
She's pondering.
That it would be wonderful to do something like this.
There. There is. There. Okay, and we are agreeing with you. What we're saying over here is that I did see evidence of some group over in North Carolina for young people, and I think they called it. Oh, there is. There's a Job Corps. Job Corps, but is that different than CC? Gotcha.
Yeah, it is. A lot of those kids are being court ordered for doing something, but they do spotlight more on education. They don't have a high school diploma. They work on GEDs. They try to teach a trade. A lot of times it's painting or drywalling or something along that line. And there's something else. I don't remember what it's called.
Well, we'll check that out. We'll have Becky research that. Becky has to take me home too, because I don't drive. Oh dear, what fun. We're just about to finish up, guys. Thank you so much. We're almost finished. Hold on just a second. Do a little clapping. Come on. Talk. Don't have it up loud enough. Home, sweet home to me. Hey. Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Don't you love that fiddle? Listen to that. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, who was? Let me leave you with these thoughts. Let me leave you with these thoughts. Go ahead. Please, stand up, please, so we can hear you. Thank you. Hey, excuse me, guys. We got somebody.
She was a teenager, I guess, doing a lot of this, and the boys that had the $5 they had to spend it somewhere, they would come on the days off, some of them, yeah, and she dated several of them. Very well. But she, talking about the stonework, she said some of the people they brought in probably from Italy, Italian immigrants.
Oh.
They did beautiful stonework. And she got went home and told the little girl, and she came back and told me that a new they had spaghetti. She
Never did it.
what spaghetti at that time, but
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me leave you with these thoughts. As we look, I guess I could, oh, I don't think, excuse me just a moment. I don't know if I have, yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. As we look across the Great Smoky Mountains today, from its stone bridges and winding trails to its restored forest, we're seeing the living legacy of the Civilian Conservation Corps. These young people didn't just build structures, they built opportunity, resilience, and hope during one of the hardest chapters of American history. Their work still shapes every visitor's experience in this park today. The CCC reminds us that when we invest in people and in the land, we create something that lasts far beyond our own lifetime. The Smokies stand as proof of what vision, hard work, and stewardship can achieve. So as we leave here this evening, let's carry forward the same spirit of service, conservation, and spirit. The mountains they protected are now ours to protect. The legacy they built is now ours to continue. Thank you. Youth Conservation Corps.
15, 18, it's still there.
Still there.
Basically, it's on the program.
Okay, thank you.
I knew there was something.
Reforested the land
Pardon?
after it was clear. Who reforested? Was it CCC or did the lumber company have to do it?
No, the civilian conservation, the CCC planted new trees. This is all second and third growth forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were wonderful.
Oh.
I enjoyed this so
Thank you.
much tonight.
Thank you so
She
much.
kept saying the whole time, "This is my best one. This is
Oh.
the best one." It was.
Oh, thank you so much,
You made
dear.
it so much fun.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're the famous
I am.
My goodness,
I
feel so
know.
fortunate. Can I get a picture of you sitting up there? I'll take a picture.
Okay.
Great job.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you for coming. It was fun. It was.
I'll give you a call in a couple of days.
Joel's fixing you.
Had a lot of fun. Thank you. You did a great job, too.
Thank you.
It was really good.
Thank you. See you Sunday? No, I won't be here Sunday.
Oh, we'll be that way.
I'll
then.
be in Indiana.
Well, just because you're a big shot presenter, because you're too good for us.
Thank you, sweetheart.
See you soon.
I love you, Joel. You're the best. Pardon?
You help you get organized and stuff.
I got it. Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.
My neighbor, Wallace Zoder, had Zoder's Inn.
Oh, yes.
He was an engineer with CCC.
He was.
Yeah, he came in 33.
I'm gonna put his name up. Put his name up here if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
What is it now?
Wallace.
That's right. Wallace Zoder.
Mm-hmm.
And he was
He was an engineer.
do you know any,
What?
just in general, he was
I
just,
don't know if he's a civil engineer, probably civil engineer.
no, I mean, you don't know what camp he was with.
I don't know if he moved around or
Okay.
he might have gone to different camps, but Ross Eakins told it, he was living in Oklahoma. Him and Dot was his
Why
wife.
does that, Ross Eakins, that sounds so familiar.
He was the superintendent of
Duh.
Smoky Mountains at the time. He was the first superintendent.
Yes, okay.
Anyway, he called him. He lived in Oklahoma, and asked him to come here and work.
Uh-huh.
And then he and Dot moved here, and then eventually built Zoder's
Okay.
Motel.
Of course.
Yeah.
And your name again?
Susan Helms.
Susan Helms.
But we had the motel right next door to us. They were
Oh, it's all coming to me right now. Of course, Susan. All right. Thank you for coming, dear.